Here we are at the pull box.
Here we are at the comic book store, even though this book has never been in my pull box. Let's see here. Yeah, I've never had this book in my pull box because I'd never heard of it. And when I was working at the comic book store, Gary was like, I was like, what's a good read, man? You've been working here for fucking ever. What do you know? And he's like, well, if you want something really good, Silver Surfer Requiem. And I'm super happy I took him up on that because it was available in the store, of course, because no one buys this book. It's not worth anything. And it's just really fucking good. And I don't hear anyone talking about this. Where's the Silver Surfer love? I know what he got shit on with the movie.
Well, that's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Those movies,
they were fucking terrible. And honestly, the Silver Surfer wasn't terrible in the movies.
It was Doug Stone who played him, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
I'm sure it was Doug. He plays everybody. It's like a
CGI or costume thing. But it's like, I thought he was all right in the movie. It's just everything else about the movie. The Fantastic Four movies sucked. Galactus was a space fart. You know, it was just like
absurd.
No
respect. No respect for their villains.
So for Silver Surfer Requiem, we have writer. Let me see if I can get this name straight. Michael Straczynski. Michael Straczynski. And look for the link for his bio because this guy's got some actually really cool stuff. He wrote the psychological drama film Changeling from 2008. He was one of the key writers for Thor, which is whatever, Underworld Awakening, World War Z. But he, let's see here. He's the creator of the science fiction television series Babylon 5.
Oh, okay.
And its spin-off Crusade. And he's done a ton of different stuff for Marvel. He's done Thor, Fantastic Four, Superman, Earth 1, Wonder Woman. He had his hand in Before Watchmen, which was an interesting series. That was like everyone had their own arc.
Okay, yeah. I remember
series.
hearing. I didn't read it, but I remember hearing about it.
It was pretty good. I think at least the Minutemen series was the best part of all of that.
Okay, yeah.
Because they were like the predecessors to
right.
Watchmen.
Like guys like Hangman and like the Mothman and stuff like
who's
that.
the Hood? It's like
or the Hood. That's it. That's what I meant. The Hood.
What's his name though?
That's his name, isn't it? The Hood or whatever he had. The
Hooded Justice.
Hooded
or
Justice.
Something.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and they we find out that he had a gay relationship
right.
and he got killed or killed his boyfriend or some shit.
Right.
It was actually a really great story, and then everyone else's was like, meh, okay. And then for our artist, we have Esad Ribic, who, like I mentioned before, I like a lot of his work because he did the Conan covers and God, what was it? The new Secret War covers.
Oh yeah. I remember. Those were good.
Thor: God of Thunder, I think too. All those really artsy looking books he does the covers and art for. So he's really great, and I like him. So the story, in short, it's for many years Norrinrad has surfed the galaxy, exploring the darkness between stars, witnessing the rise and fall of vast civilizations. Now his ride is about to come to an end. It starts with a small spot, a blemish that will spread until he is no more, aka the Silver Surfer is dying. Like I said, this issue is broken up, or this story is broken up into 4 issues, and we're going to talk about each one really quickly. So in issue 1, we got to build up our story. I think there's a little bit more meat and potatoes to this one than the other ones, because the Surfer goes to Earth to speak with Reed Richards because he knows that something's wrong, and the power cosmic material that coats his body is deteriorating. And
it's weird listening to or reading Reed explain it, because he explains it's like less than a micron thick, and it's like, but it's protecting him his entire
it's like
life.
Part of his body.
Yeah, and it's been protecting him as a Silver Surfer his entire existence as a Silver Surfer, and now it's disintegrating basically.
Right, and there's nothing they can do. Reed and Susan spent a bunch of time doing tests on him, and since the power cosmic thing is thousands of years tech-wise into the future than they could even comprehend, they can't do anything about it. And so with this information, the Surfer goes out to spend time on Earth before going back to Zenla, his home planet, and before he dies. And he knows that he's got about 3 weeks or a month to live. So what breaks my fucking heart about this issue, because each issue ends with a really poetic and strong bit, and I'm going to show the images, stills up on the screen while we talk about them. So he reads like, I'm so sorry, we can't do anything. And he's like, look, Reed Richards, I've heard that the monarch butterfly only has 3 weeks to live on your planet. And to that butterfly, those 3 weeks are a generation. That's an eternity. So if I have 3 weeks to live, thank you so much. And I'm going to make the best of it. And as he's flying away, in this last still image, he's flying upside down, and he says, I'm the Silver Surfer. I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. And I just fucking cry when I read that. I'm just like, oh my God.
Dude, it hits you so hard.
The repetition, it's just like, I don't know what it is about that repetition. Maybe because we see the Silver Surfer as such like a
godly being.
Basically. A godly being, but we don't see emotion out of him.
No.
And maybe that repetition is him expressing that emotion. He's
I think
about
to me,
it over
it's
and
like
over.
he's convincing himself.
Yeah.
Like that it's reality too. Like, I'm dying.
Okay, I didn't even think about that.
It's because like I'm dying, and like that's it, and that's what I got from it. But it's still either way, they're both valid. It's just like that. The way it's written, man, like it hits you on. To me, it was the second issue with Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're about to get to that. Oh, dude, that's brutal.
Oh, my God.
So after that, that's the end of the first issue.
God.
So we get to issue 2, and this is where, in brief, the Surfer meets up with Spider-Man as the Surfer contemplates what he can do for Earth to thank it as being his secondary home, basically, before he leaves for Zenla. And as the night continues, the Surfer offers Spider-Man a taste of the power cosmic to experience the freedom. Because, of course, Spider-Man is, like, joking the whole time. He's like, I'm Spider-Man, I'm making jokes. And he's like, hey, what's up with the surfboard? It's kind of hokey.
Right.
And he's like, he basically breaks it down. He's like, it's a function over fashion.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
he's like, I can travel the stars absolutely free and unhindered with a vessel that I won't fall off of, and I'm just free out in the cosmos. I don't want a ship. I don't want a car.
Right.
And so he's like, I want to give you that feeling. He's like, I want you to know what peace feels like. And Spider-Man goes, well, I suck and I have no money, so I'm going to get MJ because it's her birthday.
Yeah.
And this is going to be her birthday present because we see Spider-Man trying to buy a piece of jewelry for her.
Yeah, and like as they're talking, there's this bit of dialogue that really sticks out to me. How they're talking about like the world and like how like it gets them both down. How like no matter how much they fight, they can eliminate evil, but there's always going to be a vacuum, and whatever evil they eliminate, it's going to be filled by something that's potentially worse or just as bad.
Right.
And like they're as they're talking about this, like they're going through all these like conflicts over the planet and stuff like that, and all these like tyrants and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like, oh well, if we liberate these people will come in.
Yeah.
If we make everyone rich, it'll decrease the value of the dollar, and the people that thrive or need that work will be ruined.
Yeah, and they just
blah,
have
blah,
this
blah.
talk, and then he brings MJ in, and he doesn't just share like the cosmic experience with her. It's like,
oh, you know what? Hang on. I'm going to refill both of our coffees. I'm going to grab the books.
All right, yeah.
And we're going to read the dialogue.
All right, dude, it's so good. It's so good.
Describe it.
And
the feeling of freedom that she had.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, when I read it, it resonated with me in a way that was very familiar. That whole scene in which he experiences, and it's like, oh man, it's something, man.
Well, she's just like, I was free, and I've never felt anything like that. Thank you. She was gone for less than an hour, but for days afterwards, she would try to describe what she saw, what it felt like. And, and so Spider-Man decides that the perfect gift that the Surfer could give humanity before leaving Earth is to let everyone experience it. So I'm going to make James cry here and read this last page that has this fucking amazing piece of artwork. I'm going to show this still on the screen for a better image. But it says, in prison cells where light could not penetrate, in cities and villages where the gnawing ache of hunger was eternal and tangible, In torture camps and war zones, in the parliaments of tyrants, in distant places where hope had become a mockery and tomorrow was only a promise of continued pain and suffering. In the thoughts of those who caused violence because they knew no other way, whose own minds were as torn and tortured as those they harmed for 5 minutes, and they and the whole world knew what it was to be at peace, to be free.
Dude.
Fucking crazy.
Dude, it was like, it hit me so hard. I was like, shit.
And like with the image showing.
Yeah, the image, that art, you're just like, it was like, God damn it, man.
It just shows a wide variety of like people just starstruck in awe. You know, they're just like, they can't believe it.
Such a powerful fucking book, man.
Crazy. So that's issue 2. The surfer then flies off to travel to Zenla and start his journey. So doesn't he go to Strange first? No, that's the beginning of issue 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, no, he doesn't leave for Zenla yet. He's traveling the Earth more to experience more on Earth. So in issue 3, the surfer's confronted by Stephen Strange before leaving Earth, and Doctor Strange gives him basically all of Earth's information.
Yeah, basically the codex of the Earth.
He's like, the only thing I can do for you that I can think that you would benefit from is give you this weird flame thing that's basically all of Earth's secrets and information, yada yada. So you'll know, and this is information before you arrived and after you arrived, so you can see the things that you've done for us. Okay. Your contribution to planet Earth and the things you've accomplished and the people that you've saved.
The record, basically.
This is the change that you've made on Earth. And I think issue 3 is probably my favorite one, because so after he leaves Doctor Strange, he's traveling for 8 days through space, and all of a sudden, in the middle of his path, he confronts a battle going on. All these different ships, it's all really cool looking spaceships, actually, like original sci-fi looking ships. And he's heralded by beings from the main mothership. He flies in there, and it's these 2 leaders of 2 alien races.
Yeah, the 2 warring teams. They're basically the 2 top generals are there basically regarding the war and peace. And it's really jarring, weird.
Well, they basically summoned him to see if he could help out on either side, because they've been warring with each other for generations and generations, that it's what they do.
Right.
Like
they don't know any other way.
Right. Well, these supreme beings have made it so that they are constantly in war, constantly in battle. They're constantly upgrading, getting secrets from the other side, so they're always moving up technologically for warfare to battle and kill each other. And these 2 leaders are sitting back and they say it's the glorious war. They're like, this is what we want. Like, we had gods, their gods were different. So that was blasphemy. So we built a bigger statue. They built a bigger statue, which was even more blasphemy. And so we're basically raising people to live in this glorious war, because that is our purpose.
Man. Only thing is, they've been doing it for I think thousands of years.
Generations and generations, yeah.
So this war, it's all they knew, and it's they glorify it in a way that it's all they know. It's basically their life and their existence.
It's their holy purpose as the leaders of these races to continue this war.
And they're basically in the same room, just talking about it in such a casual manner.
Right.
But it's also a sacred thing.
Well, they're like, why do you sit up here while your people die? Yeah. And they're like, they want us to sit up here. That's how they know that we're holy, because we are up here. Blah, blah, blah. And so the surfer is just totally disgusted by all of this. And so he flies out and he destroys all of the weapons on all of the ships. He flies to both of the planets and destroys their statues of
their idols.
Their idols, yeah, thank you. And
their temples, all their religious stuff, he just annihilates all of it.
Yep, and in that moment, these people realize what they've been subjecting themselves to for generations.
Because this guy came out of nowhere and destroyed their gods.
Right.
And as he does this, he takes all the fire in the process. And you got to remember, he's not protected the way that he was. So he sustains heavy damage as well in the process. And,
oh yeah, they're like they hit him and we were surprised that it hurt him.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Right.
So he does that, and they end up building a giant statue of the Silver Surfer years later because they're like, oh, this is the man. This is our new god, basically. And that's when we get to our last page, which has such a fucking beautiful quote. And it's the surfer. He's flying through space. And it says, nor would we forget the words he spoke to us before he left. If sacred places are spared the ravages of war, then make all places sacred. And if the holy people are to be kept harmless from war, then make all peoples holy. Oof. Man. Powerful message in every single one of these issues.
God damn it, man. It's such a good series.
Oh, dude, it's so good. In issue 3, it reminds me kind of like Warhammer. Like the universe.
Yeah. I feel like I got
Holy
those vibes.
Wars
I'm not
and...
super familiar with the Warhammer stuff, but when I read that, it kind of like... I got that feeling from it.
Right. Just like the war scene as like a biblical justification. Or, I don't know. I'm butchering
There's
it.
always a theological... war is always going to have, that kind of stuff involved. And the way he addresses it, it's like, shit, man, if it could be that fucking easy for us.
Yeah. So, then leads us to the final issue. Issue 4 of Silver Surfer Requiem. This is when the surfer finally makes it back to Zenla. He actually makes it and crashes because he's just out of juice. And that's where he's in critical condition, but he reconvenes with Shalabal, his old lady.
Yes.
From
his
back,
mate.
Before he turned into the Silver Surfer. And also, that's when Galactus arrives.
Yes.
Everyone's like looking up at the shadow that's starting to loom over the city and everything, and it's like, oh fuck. Galactus knows that the surfer is dying, and he's here because that was part of the surfer's deal with him, is that he would spare Zenla if he became the surfer and found him other planets to eat.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh fuck. But dude, Galactus arrives in just to honor the Silver Surfer. He picks him up like a child, and looks at him, and the surfer even states, he's like, I've seen my creator be angry, be sad, whatever, but today I saw him be angry, be this, whatever, but today I saw him be sad. And he looks at me and picks him up, and like he says that he could try to save him, but he doesn't know if he can. The fact that Galactus speaks to the surfer and says, I want to save you, but I don't know if I can. And he doesn't say it, but the surfer analyzes this from just interacting with Galactus.
Yeah.
And so we know that he can't save him, but God, what did he do? It was... Oh no, he kills him. So Galactus kills the surfer basically to give him a clean death, so he's not suffering. And this is when shit gets fucking real. Because I remember reading this page the first time I read it, and it put chills down my spine. Because on this page, we see Galactus. Yeah, there he is. I'll show the actual still. But he stands over and watches for 3 days for the surfer's funeral and just watches over the planet, standing over it. And you're just like, wow,
the
man.
The being that consumes planets.
No remorse, no emotion. Nothing.
Just stands there for 3 days for his herald.
Oh, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Dude. But so good. And so at this point, Norrinrad dies. The funeral happens. And Shalabal actually talks to Galactus. And she's like, look, if you were here to honor, the surfer, blah, 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 I have a request. I have something to ask of you. And he goes, make your request. And it says, and she did make that request. And Galactus basically launches the surfer's body into space and turns him into a star to perpetually light the dark side of Zenla. And what does it say here? Oh man, it's heavy as fuck. What does it say here? Yep, the newly birthed star was positioned always to be on the dark side of Zen-La, to remind the world not so much of his sacrifices, not so much for what he lost, as what he gave. The light of hope, the light of love, the light of possibilities. Astronomers on 1,000 planets would name this new star each according to his own world's own myths and beliefs, but only an Earth poet of a long ago year summed it up. When he shall die, take him and cut him into little stars, and he shall make the face of heaven so fine that all the earth would be in love with night and pay no worship to garnish the sun. Whew. Ooh. Ooh. And this is delivered by, we find out at the very end, it's probably Uatu, or a watcher. But I'm assuming it's Uatu because he watches over Earth.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And man, just like
oh, God damn
a strong finish to the fourth book. And this is just, like I said, in closing, this is one of my favorite comic series of all time.
And I'm not a Silver Surfer guy.
No one is. No one's a Silver Surfer guy.
Right, it's a great fucking book, and everybody should read that.
All right, absolutely. And I know I spoiled a lot by showing,
but dude, it's so
like,
good, man.
You'll get a different emotion by reading it yourself.
Yeah, it's fucking excellent.
From what I could tell, the Silver Surfer was really only popular in the 70s because when he came out, the Surfer was really
oh yeah, like just surfboards in general and stuff. Like
right. Well, no, not surfboards, but he was very not psychological,
psychedelic.
Just like very, I guess, profound. Every time he would talk, his way of thinking and everything was more outside of the grand scheme of
kind of like philosophical.
Thank you, philosophical. I don't know why I brain farted on that, but like he's all about finding ways around fighting as opposed to every action comic book character oh, I'm gonna punch my way through it.
Yeah, he's trying to find a way to kind of I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I saw like Stan Lee used to do like
he's more like a pacifist, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Stan Lee used to like meet up with like college students like for seminars and talk, like use the Silver Surfer as like a talking piece and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's cool, yeah.
But yeah, and the Silver Surfer is really neat. But if you want to cry and enjoy the Silver Surfer all at the same time,
it's a great book, and it's even if you're not like a hardcore comic book nerd, I feel like everybody should read this book because it has a lot to offer.
It has everything. It's a sad boy comic book.
It's a sad boy comic, and everybody loves a sad boy comic book.
Especially me.